And with that, that's a great way to start the 2022-23 college basketball season here from the Siegel Center on the campus of VCU as the Rams host the Jaspers of Manhattan College. Great to be with you here courtside at the Stew. I'm Sean Robertson along with Ed Nixon, a member of the 2011 Final Four team. The guys have been practicing for months, preseason, exhibition, things of that nature, and now it's time to throw it up and get ready for some basketball.
Absolutely. A lot of hard work has been put in this offseason. It's time to show the fans exactly what you've been working on so you can see who put the work in the offseason and who didn't.
And for our ones to watch, it's going to start in the backcourt, specifically the point guard matchup here tonight.
Absolutely. So for the Manhattan Jaspers, we have Ant Nelson, preseason third team All-MAC, averaged 13 points last season. He can score at 3 levels. He is going to be the man to watch for the Manhattan Jaspers. Now, for VCU, Ace Baldwin, preseason first team A10, averaged 11 points and 5 assists. This guy is really the engine to VCU. He makes everything go.
Now we know about the players to watch for tonight's game. What about the keys of the game, Ed Nixon?
Okay, so the keys to the game, simple as put. VCU, they have to push the pace. VCU is projected to be the deepest team in the A10. They're planning to play 10 to 11 guys, so they really want to push the pace to wear down the Jaspers, who are shorthanded. They also want to dominate defensively, use their length to get in the passing lanes, contest every pass, contest every cut, contest every shot. Now, for the Jaspers, they have to limit turnovers. Absolutely. We talked to the coach Stores. He emphasized that he doesn't want to have live ball turnovers. That is fuel for VCU's offense. Also, they have to control pace, be opportunistic when they want to run and when they want to slow it down. They don't want to go too fast and wear themselves out or play into VCU's hands.
Those are the keys to the game presented by CarMax. CarMax, the home of the 30-day money-back guarantee. Starting lineups have been announced for the Manhattan Jaspers. We thought Ant Nelson was going to be in the starting lineup today. However, we'll talk about those starting lineups in just a moment as we will take a timeout. Here's you watching Around Basketball on the CW and on ESPN+. Center for the start of the 2022 college basketball season. Great to be with you here courtside at the Stew. Tonight's game presented by the Virginia Lottery. Visit VALottery.com tonight for any last-minute tickets for tonight's record Powerball drawing. We will get to our tickets as soon as this game is over. We'll talk about that later in the broadcast. Let's first talk about the starting lineups tonight. First for Manhattan, they're going to have a 4-guard alignment with Razi Hayung, Marquise Watson, Elijah Buchanan, Nick Brennan, and Josh Roberts, the transfer from St. John's. Meanwhile, VCU, they'll have Ace Baldwin and Jaden Nunn in the backcourt. Jamir Watkins, first time we've seen him since he tore his ACL a couple of years ago, followed by Jalen DeLoach and Brandon Johns Jr., the transfer from Michigan. Roberts and DeLoach will jump it up. And the toss is controlled by Ace Baldwin, preseason first team A10 selection, and we're underway.
Here we go. There's a lot of things I want to see from VCU. They have a lot of new faces, newcomers, returners, injury guys coming off injury.
Here is DeLoach against Roberts. Johns the offensive rebound against Brennan and scores VCU's first 2 of the season.
And if I'm VCU, I'm definitely going to try to take advantage of the size difference that they have down low.
Now, Johns played over 100 games in 3 seasons with Michigan while he was a Wolverine, and he just picked up the game's first foul against Nick Brennan.
I wonder if Brandon Johns is used to playing this type of basketball. From what I remember, Michigan didn't get up and down the court like VCU does. So I'm curious to see how his adjustment is going to be.
That wind is going to be a factor, too, if you're going to play that much. I mean, Coach Mike Rhodes, in his 6th season here at VCU, he mentioned deepest team he's had since he's been the head coach here. He can play maybe 11, possibly 12 this season. We'll see how the depth will play a part, as up high and down hard is Josh Roberts, the transfer from St. John's, has put Manhattan on the board.
Great way to start. Great way to start. Excellent play ran. They executed it perfectly.
Rashawn Stores, the interim head coach for Manhattan. Here is Nunn. The skip pass to Jamir Watkins against Roberts. Rebound picked up on the floor by Manhattan and Elijah Buchanan. Here's Razi Hayung for three.
And that's what he does. Coaches raved about his three-point shooting, and there he goes on early display.
He shot nearly 48% in the pro league, the top pro league in Israel a couple of seasons ago, and he gives Manhattan a 5-2 lead. No man right here for Manhattan, playing a little zone as Nunn spots up from the head of the key and drills the triple.
Bingo. A great ball movement by VCU working against that zone.
36% three-point shooter is Jaden Nunn, third team A-10 selection in the preseason. Backcourt pressure by VCU. Manhattan just got it over. And Deloach picks up the steal. A 3-on-1 break. And offensive foul called on Jalen Deloach.
That is a tough call. I don't think that his feet were set. However, it was a bang-bang play. Could have went either way.
Might have been a little bit out of control as Ant Nelson checks in for the first time for Manhattan. He is the leading return scorer for Manhattan after a lot of chaos in the offseason for Manhattan in the last couple of weeks. He's back. One of 5 fifth-year players for Manhattan this season.
And let's give Coach Storrs some credit. To be given the job 2 weeks before the season opener and to have these guys ready to play, it says a lot about his character.
Here's Razi again for three, and Baldwin the rebound for VCU.
Now, if I'm Manhattan, I'm going to be pretty careful about the shot selection.
Johns from downtown.
VCU wants to speed them up. So taking quick threes is playing right into their hand. You have to be opportunistic of when you play.
And it's a 6-0 run for VCU and a turnover on the trap. Brandon Johns has 5 of VCU's 8 in this first 3.5 minutes of the half.
And speaking to Coach Rhodes, he loves Brandon Johns' way to play. He plays hard, plays the right way.
Just underway here in the season opener for both teams. Here's Watkins, skip pass to Nunn, extra pass to Baldwin, around the horn to Watkins.
Great ball movement by VCU. The ball was popping.
Mike Rhodes always says the ball can't stick. The ball can't stick.
Absolutely.
9-0 run, and Ace almost turned it over, forced the turnover. Right here near us.
I love the enthusiasm.
Just 90 seconds ago, Manhattan was leading 5-2. Rams are on a 9-0 run and have hit their last 3 shots, all from distance, to go up by 6.
And let's talk about the improvement for the Rams in that factor. They struggled to score the ball and shoot the ball all last year. Coach Rhodes said they weren't going to have that issue this year. And as we see, he's not.
They were in the bottom half of the A-10 in scoring last season. They only averaged 67 points per game. Here's Brennan in the corner, tried to draw a foul, didn't get it. Ball goes over the backboard and out of bounds to VCU.
Great contest. Like I said, for the keys to the game, they have to impose their will defensively, contest everything. Even if you don't think you're going to be there on time, still jump.
Baldwin running the point, starting his 51st game as a VCU Ram. Remember, was a true freshman and started a couple of years ago. Now a junior for head coach Mike Rhodes. Here's Johns underneath. Draws contact and will get rewarded with 2 free throws.
Absolutely.
Foul will go against Josh Roberts, one of the other 5th-year players for Manhattan. That'll be his first, and that will send Johns to the line. We mentioned the experience he brings for VCU this year. He played 117 games at Michigan, 25 starts, part of 97 wins for Michigan and a few NCAA tournament appearances, to include an Elite 8 trip under Juwan Howard.
He knows what it takes to win. He's experienced, and that is going to be infectious to the younger guys for VCU.
He has been hot so far, a 10-0 run for VCU, making an 11-0 spurt. And the lead is at 8. Johns has 7 of the 13 so far in this first half.
And look at this pressure by VCU. Tenacity.
Ace almost forced another turnover against Ant Nelson. 21 to shoot for Manhattan as they are in a scoring drought of over 2.5 minutes after they were up by 3.
VCU rammed up the defensive end and is just suffocating at this point right now.
And that's what Coach Storrs was worried about. How will they play early and keep that crowd uninvolved? Right now they have been playing a role in this as Brennan in the corner hits the triple for Manhattan.
Great driving kick.
And that broke an 11-0 run by VCU, his first basket. Baldwin thought about shooting the 3. Here's Johns against Buchanan. Ball picked up by Adam Walden, the freshman from out of Baltimore.
Great attack by Johns. I would much rather he go towards the contact instead of moving away from it, however.
Walden tried to go glass, was too strong. None the loose ball for VCU. Skip out to Watkins for 3. Halfway down, and Buchanan the rebound for Manhattan. 5.5 minutes gone by here in this first half as Buchanan couldn't find the bottom of the net. Deloach rebound for VCU.
And I just don't agree with that shot. He came down, nobody else touched the ball to shoot a contested step back 2-pointer. Those type of shots don't get you wins.
And a foul is called on Walden as he tried to deny that pass, as we got a timeout on the floor. 14:31 to go. VCU with a 5-point lead as you're watching Ram Basketball on the CW and ESPN Ram Nation crew. Season opener. I know you've been waiting for this game for a long time.
I have. I've been excited for all the newcomers for VCU to see how they can work and put it together. Then again, I just miss college basketball.
We go from November all the way to April to crown a national champion. Right now, VCU shooting 50% from the field, 4 of 8. Manhattan 3 of 7 from the field at 42.9%. Nick Kern into the game along with David Shriver, who misfires his first 3, the transfer from Hartford. They're on the floor with Deloach, Zeb Jackson, the transfer from Michigan, and Baldwin. Here is Ant Nelson attacking the rim. Deloach saves it for VCU, and here comes Jackson on the move. Jackson against Brennan off the window, and a foul. And we'll see who that will go against.
And it's good to see Zeb Jackson on the court. He is the other half of the Michigan transfer that came to VCU. And he's looking for a new beginning, start here at VCU. Good kid, works really hard. Hope he does well.
Buchanan picked up the foul for Manhattan. That'll be his first. 3 on the team here as 6 minutes gone by in the first half.
Manhattan switched to man now.
Nice look underneath to Deloach. Caught in a straitjacket. Ball on the floor,
Good
and Manhattan has it.
Good defense by Manhattan.
Here's Nelson to Brennan, and travel. He thought he got away with the extra step. And Tony Crisp said not so fast. Toby Lawal from out of London, England, sees his first action.
Absolutely. Now, some people think he might have traveled on his own, but that was a good stunt by Zeb Jackson to get Brennan to second-guess himself and cause the travel.
So far, 3 turnovers for Manhattan, 2 for VCU so far. And if I recall correctly, none have been live ball turnovers, which Coach Storrs had talked about a lot. We cannot have a lot of live ball turnovers. Here's Kern with a strong move.
Nick Kern is looking to have a big year this year.
Sophomore from out of St. Louis. Gives VCU a 7-point lead. Here comes the trap. Nice ball reversal. Nice pass underneath. And the dunk by Adam Cisse breaks that trap by the Rams. And the Jaspers are down by 5.
Great ball movement. When you're in the press, you want to gamble. You want to gamble early, not late.
There he is. David Schreiber, the young man from out of West Virginia, a career 40-plus three-point shooter, has pushed the lead back to 8.
And if you don't know him, you will. He can really stroke the ball.
And that was an assist of the game, presented by the Virginia Credit Union. Here's a steal by Kern, up ahead against Brennan, and draws contact. And there's that athleticism that everybody has been talking about this season for VCU, and Nick Kern showed it on that play.
Absolutely. Passes that you think are going to get through, they won't, because VCU's length is so impressive.
Kern at the stripe, shot over 81% last season from the stripe. He's got 2 free throws coming to him.
I knew you jinxed him.
Just giving out the stats.
It's the free throw jinx.
I'm just giving out the stats.
Time.
He wasn't 100% from the line. I know that's a stat that Mike Rose wants to improve this year. They were 8th in the A-10 last season as Kern missed both. They were just above 70% last season from the stripe.
And that was an improvement from the previous year as well.
And he was very happy in the exhibition, of the black and gold scrimmage, rather. They only missed 3 free throws the entire scrimmage. They were 35 of 38 from the stripe. Here's Ant Nelson. Knocked out of bounds by Manhattan. VCU gets it back.
And VCU is giving Ant Nelson a tough time right now. He's trying to get his rhythm going, but they're just not giving it to him.
They're coming in waves.
And like we discussed earlier, is not the same type of defender. Every time you're picked up by somebody different. Ace Baldwin wants to get up under you. You know, Nick Kern wants to use his length and get to you.
I mean, the options that Rose has to his disposal this season could be pretty good. Baldwin called glass from downtown.
The bank is open. Is that BB&T?
That was another Virginia Union Credit assist of the game. With every VCU assist, Virginia Credit Union makes a donation to the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU. Largest Ram lead of the game at 11 now at 21-10. Brennan in the corner against Baldwin with 10 to shoot. Draws an offensive foul. He put that elbow up under the chin of Ace Baldwin. I think that's 2 now on Brennan as the timeout is on the floor. 11:25 in the half. You're watching Ram basketball on the CW and ESPN+. VCU largest lead of the game at 11:21-10, and it's been behind Ace Baldwin. He's been doing a little bit of everything. And in this first half, he's only taken 1 shot. That was a bank 3 that he called. But he's been really good on defense. He's got 4 assists so far in his 9 minutes of action here in the first half.
Absolutely. Ace is one of those players that he can dominate the game in so many different ways. And here it is on display.
And he's going to take a breather on this next set. Schreiber, Kern, Nunn back in along with Zeb Jackson and Toby Lawal. Young along with Watson, Cisse, along with Buchanan are on the floor, as well as Josh Roberts. So Ant Nelson is taking a seat right now for Manhattan.
And you see the Manhattan tried to come out in a little 2-2-1 press. I don't think they were trying to trap, but they just wanted to slow the offense down.
Here is Nunn, draws a foul, and that looks like Young will be called for the foul. That's his first, and team foul number 6 already, not even halfway through. And the next free throw, next foul for Manhattan, VCU will be shooting the rest of the half.
And that is not ideal. That is not ideal for any team playing against anybody.
Jaden Nunn at the stripe. I won't mention what he did last season.
Good thing you didn't.
Now I can say he shot 75.6% from the stripe last season.
Yeah, VCU was off to a rough start from the free throw line.
Yeah, 0 of 3 so far from the stripe. Check it, 2 of 5, I beg your pardon. And Nunn missed both free throws. He was one of their better free throw shooters last season, but now VCU just 2 of 6 from the stripe, and a whistle away from the ball. Nick Kern is called for the foul. Just VCU's third and his first.
Now, it's too early to judge, but I think VCU will get this free throw issue fixed. It might just be first game jitters.
Mike Rose hopes it's going to be first game jitters, especially if they like to play that type of style this season. They're going to get opportunities at the stripe. Almost a 5-second count on Manhattan as he got it in. Nelson back in the game for Manhattan against Zeb Jackson.
Good defense by Zeb Jackson.
Loose ball on the floor, picked up by Buchanan and scores inside. Elijah Buchanan averages 7.5 last season, had a really good junior year for Manhattan when he was 20th in the conference in the MAC at just over 11 points a game.
And he's going to need to show up big today if they want to pull out a victory tonight.
Lead is 9 for VCU. Zeb thought about the three, the extra pass to Nick Kern in the corner. And the rebound goes to Cisse. Manhattan had numbers and now will go to Watson inside and found 2. Marquise Watson, another fifth-year player for the Jaspers from out of Brooklyn by way of Miami-Dade College, has pulled the Jaspers to within 7.
And this is what you should expect from Manhattan. They are one of the oldest teams in the country. They're experienced. They shouldn't be rattled just by a run. The game is full of runs.
And Nelson grabs his first foul. Remember now, VCU shoots the rest of this half as Jamir Watkins and Brandon Johns will come in and replace Shriver and Nick Kern. So now that's the big lineup that Coach Mike Rose has talked about. He can go small, he can go big. This looks like one of the bigger lineups that he can have to his disposal this season.
Absolutely.
Nunn is 6'3". Watkins is 6'7". As Nunn missed the front end of a 1-and-1. And chasing down the rebound was Josh Roberts. You got Johns at 6'8". I'm sorry, Ed. You got Johns at 6'8". Lawal 6'8". And Zeb is at 6'5". So this is a huge lineup defensively for the Rams. Here's Roberts underneath. Manhattan hanging around right now. They're only down 5.
Absolutely. And they're a good team, and they will.
6-0 run for the Jaspers. Zeb tried to break it with that 3, and Manhattan with the rebound.
Manhattan needs to slow the ball down, get a good shot, and they get one. Bingo.
And Buchanan switches it. A 9-0 Jaspers run has pulled them within 2, 21-19.
And this looks to be an issue going forward for VCU is transition defense. They have to get back and get matched up. This is not the first time that Manhattan has pushed the ball down their throat and got a good look at the basket.
They've made their last 4 shots. And Buchanan, who shot right around 29% last year, but is considered one of the top shooters from distance in the MAC conference, showed it in that last possession.
Absolutely. Now for VCU, they are moving the ball well. They are getting good shots as well, but they're missing free throws, and the shots aren't falling. So when the shots aren't falling, you need to fall back on your defense and be strong on that end.
VCU in a scoring drought of just over 2.5 minutes. And Manhattan has hit their last 4 shots in the midst of a 9-0 run in the last 90 seconds. Ace Baldwin immediately back in for VCU after the timeout. And as soon as Mike Rose called that timeout, he looked at Jaden Nunn and was like, you got to communicate.
Absolutely. As the point guard, that's part of your job.
Here's Baldwin in the lane. The nice look to Deloach. He gets it back on the deflection. Found Deloach again, draws contact, and will go to the line for a 3-point play.
Assist number 5.
Another Virginia Credit Union assist by Ace Baldwin. But the heads up, look at that. The no look to Deloach is showing his strength. He's gotten stronger, as Mike Rose said this offseason, in the best shape of his life, and showing that upper body strength to get the contact, fight through it, and draw a foul on Cisse.
And not only has he been putting work in the gym lifting weights, but he's actually been putting a lot of work in every single day on the basketball court. I expect to see a little more offensively from Jalen Deloach.
Manhattan couldn't hold on to the rebound, and VCU gets another possession on this end of the floor.
But again, another missed free throw.
2 of 8 from the stripe so far for VCU. But they could get a 4 or 5 point trip after that missed free throw and the lost opportunity by Manhattan. Here's Baldwin. 4-point trip as Baldwin connects for his 5th point of the night.
And it's just amazing to see his development as a jump shooter from where he was his freshman year.
Oh, the alley-oop to Roberts again. The athleticism shown there by Roberts. And here's Watkins on the other end, will draw a foul. And this will go against Buchanan. But again, Josh Roberts from Buchanan.
And let's give Buchanan some credit. He's doing a really good job of getting into the paint, attracting the defense, making the defense collapse, and passing it to the open man. He did it once to a corner 3 and now to the lob.
Watkins at the line, 74% free throw shooter his sophomore season, which was back in the 1920 campaign. Will get 2 free throws on that last trip as Buchanan is out for Manhattan and Watkins splits a pair. Young is in now for Manhattan wearing number 14. He started tonight for the Jaspers. And Marquise Watson is guarded by Zip Jackson.
That was close to a moving screen.
Shot clock under 10 for Nelson in Manhattan. Skip pass to Cisse and he threw it over his head. Cisse is 6'10", he needed to be 7'5". Timeout on the floor.
Absolutely.
26-21 VCU with the lead. At the Siegel Center, the start of the 2022 college basketball campaign, and they have a 5-point lead over Manhattan. Just want to remind you that this Saturday night, bring your gently used coats to support Puritan Cleaners Coats for Kids program. They'll clean them up and give them to neighbors who need them this winter. VCU will be home this Saturday against Morgan State. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock here at the Stu. We'll have that broadcast as well. But we're a little ahead of ourselves as we're not talking about 7:58 to go in the first half, and VCU has a 5-point lead over Manhattan, who was, for right now, through the first 12 and some change, they weathered the storm,
yes,
and they're in it right now.
And you can't ask for more. Coach Stores can't ask for more for his guys to be down 5 points, 8 minutes to go. You want to keep it close all the way to the end. And they're doing a good job thus far.
Baldwin, Johns, Jackson, DeLoach, and Watkins on the floor for VCU. Brennan, along with Young, Roberts, Watson, and Nelson on the floor for Manhattan. Here's DeLoach underneath, gets his own miss, and then draws a whistle. Oh, they got a jump ball call. Check it.
That was it, I guess.
Brennan caused that tie-up against DeLoach, and Manhattan will get it on the arrow.
Good attack. Just didn't execute on the finish.
And Baldwin almost another deflection by Ace Baldwin. He was one of the nation's leaders in steals a year ago at over 2.5 per game a season ago. That was 3rd best in the country in that category.
I'll tell you what, Nelson's going to wake up tonight looking over his shoulder.
And Nelson stepped on the baseline.
I'm telling you, they're making it really tough for him to even catch the ball right now.
Not a lob ball turnover that Coach Stores had talked about, the interim head coach at Manhattan. It is their 6th of the game. VCU with only 2 so far in the half. Inside to DeLoach. Brennan's got to be careful not to pick up his 3rd foul, and DeLoach scores his first 2.
Look at this pressure.
Manhattan gets it across with Watson guarded by Watkins.
And this is another.
There's a steal. Baldwin's first, pulls up for 3. And the rebound to Manhattan, deflected by Jackson. And here comes DeLoach underneath, and he's called for steps. No basket.
Good defense by Manhattan by forcing that turnover. The hustle caused the travel.
That steal by Baldwin was the first live ball turnover by Manhattan in this game. And there's a travel by DeLoach. Just the third turnover by VCU in this half. Under 7 to go, and VCU leading 28-21.
Oh, that's what you don't want to do. You never want to turn your back within a press.
High Young for 3. John's the rebound for VCU. John's left open for a triple. Watkins kept it alive, and another opportunity for VCU. Here's Baldwin, and he draws a foul.
That was James Harden-esque. He really forced the issue and made the refs make a call.
That's going to be on High Young, his second. So we got some foul issues now for Manhattan, with High Young and Brennan each with 2 for Manhattan. And Baldwin at the free throw line for 2.
And about to check in at the scores table, we have freshman Fats Billups.
He's an area, I was going to say, an area standout, played his high school ball at Verina. He checks in. His last high school game, he won a state championship for the Verina Blue Devils in this building back in March. Scored 17 in that game, and Verina's state championship win.
And I watched some of the practices with Billups, and he plays at his own pace, but he knows the game is very smooth.
Coaching staff joked with us during shoot-around today, said we got to keep him humble. The high school accolades are great. The state championship is great. But we got to keep him humble and make him more hungry to get minutes.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what he can do right now.
And with the depth of VCU, you're always going to be fighting for minutes.
Here's Nelson against Luol, and John's the rebound. Here's Baldwin up ahead. Goes behind and back to Billups. Jackson for 3. Billups an offensive rebound. And Baldwin trying to orchestrate the offense.
Take advantage of this mismatch.
Billups from the head of the key. And Roberts the rebound for Manhattan. Had 2 really good looks from distance there.
Absolutely.
Those are shots that Coach Rose would like on an offensive possession.
You got to live with those misses. That's great offense.
Brennan against Jackson. Nelson has it as we're coming up on 10 to shoot for the Jaspers. Cisse for 3.
No way.
And he'll hear it from the VCU fans.
I think there's a little draft. Somebody close the door.
Manhattan in a scoring drought of nearly 3 minutes so far. Well, actually, it's over 3 minutes, as they're down by 9 as we're coming up on 5 minutes to go in the first half. Shriver will come in on the next dead ball for VCU.
And it looks as if Manhattan's in like a matchup zone right now.
Lowell against Roberts, muscling it against the St. John's transfer, and found 2.
And one thing I will say about Toby is he is uber athletic, but he has a lot of dog within him.
That pass by Watson was deflected out. As I mentioned, Shriver will come in. It looks like Elijah Buchanan will come back in for Manhattan to replace Watson. But that was a big-time move there by Toby Lowell, the freshman from out of London, England.
Physical move.
Played a year at Lee Prep Academy in Maine. Before that, he played in the City of London Academy before coming stateside.
And I believe this is his 3rd year playing organized basketball.
Buchanan from distance over Jackson.
And that was nothing but bottom.
A set play off the inbound. Here's Jackson on the other end. Hits his own triple. And he gave a point to Calvin Duncan, one of the VCU legends here tonight. Buchanan against Jackson and scores.
Great drive by Buchanan. He did not come to play.
Both are trying to one-up the other. It's a 9-point lead, 35-26 for VCU. Here's Baldwin against Buchanan. The lob off the window. Roberts grabs it for Manhattan. Tried to show off that wingspan or that
45
that vertical leap, yeah.
Look at Ace Baldwin.
Another steal and another foul on Manhattan. Timeout on the floor, 3:52 to go. Ace Baldwin will shoot free throws when we come back.
Smooth stroke.
And there's Calvin Duncan getting the front row seat of that three-point shot. I'm talking about somebody that could fill it up back in the day. That was Calvin Duncan.
Absolutely.
One of the
VCU
Rams
legend.
greats, absolutely.
VCU legend.
So after the timeout, Ace Baldwin at the line. 7 points so far, along with 6 assists and 2 steals.
I tell you what, Ace reminds me of that cousin you had back in the day when you were younger. Used to always steal. You had to keep your eye on him.
He's credited officially with 2. He had at least 3 deflections
At least.
early in the half.
His presence is felt.
Splits that free throw trip. Who now has a 10-point lead, speaking of VCU. Ant Nelson back in and harassed as he brought it across the timeline by Ace Baldwin. And that's got to wear on you if you're an opposing point guard.
Absolutely.
Brennan went right over the wall, showing off that vertical leap, and went window for the basket.
Great way to adjust in midair.
5 so far for Brennan. It's an 8-point lead for VCU. Shriver, the step back triple.
You better get the umbrella.
Last
he's on
year,
the court, you better get the umbrella because he's going to rain threes on you.
Last year at Hartford, he shot over 41% from behind the arc. Steal by VCU. Lawal gets it back. And Brennan the rebound for Manhattan. Manhattan fortunate that he didn't give up a basket there on the live ball turnover. Nelson misfires on the triple and Shriver the rebound for VCU. They trail it on the glass right now by 1. Shriver thought about it, now will hoist it up.
Heat check. Can't blame him.
He's got 2 so far in the half. And VCU with a 11-point lead as we're inside 2.5 minutes.
And I got to give VCU credit on really making everything tough for Nelson. He hasn't got an open look.
Here's Watson in the inside plus the foul as he goes glass. And I think Baldwin is going to get credited for the foul. It is. That's a great move there by Marquise Watson.
Great ability to stay focused on the rim after taking the bump to still get the shot to go.
Yeah, I think they got Baldwin for trying to swipe the ball away, but Marquise Watson transferred from Miami-Dade College by way of Iowa Western Community College. He's going to get a chance at a 3-point play as head coach Mike Rose juggling his lineup. And there's a good shot of Rashawn Stores, the interim head coach of Manhattan, who got that tag about 3 weeks ago. And he's been dealing with a lot to get ready for this matchup against the Rams as Watson could not convert on the 3-point play.
And Coach Stores has been around the program since he played. He never left. He was getting his master's in coaching, and it just all came to him at once.
Here is Johns going right to the rim for 2. Gave up the open 3 for a better 2, and it's an 11-point VCU lead.
When is the last time we had a 5 be able to do that?
It's been a long time. You maybe got to go back to Larry.
I didn't see Larry put the ball on the ground like that.
Maybe not like that. He can put it on the floor.
Yeah.
And Justin Tillman was not a 5. He was more of a stretch 4. Here's Rozzi for a triple. Rozzi Heisen with the triple, misfiring. Here's Johns keeping control and finding 2.
Absolutely. Manhattan's going to want to travel on that, but he never really gathered the ball until the layup.
And a steal by Jake Nunn. Look out!
Hey! Live ball turnover.
And Coach Stores gets the timeout. He talked about that when we talked to him over the weekend, and we talked to him today at shoot-around. No live ball turnovers, and Jaden Nunn up high and down hard for VCU.
And that's a big ask for a coach going against VCU. They have 2 ball hawks as their starting guards. It's going to be hard to not turn that over in live ball. It's just going to be tough to do.
I mentioned earlier Baldwin, top 3 in the country in steals. Nunn was 14th in the conference in steals. So you got guys that's probably averaging about 4 steals a game between them. It's like you're an opposing point guard. It's like, I don't want to see Baldwin, but if I don't see him, I got none that can do just as good.
Right. And then on top of that, so you're getting pressured up the court, somebody right there in your pocket, and then you have to make a pass. And you have length on the wings that would jump the passing lane. VCU has a chance to be just as good as they were defensively last year, but losing a player like Vince Williams definitely hurts.
Their points per game allowed last year was 2nd in the A-10, and their defensive efficiency were among the nation's best last year. And that was 14 that really couldn't score a lot. They were only, near the bottom of the A-10 in scoring, but their defense kept them in a lot of games last year. But that might change this season with the offense they have right now so far. Baldwin with another deflection with 10 to shoot for Manhattan. Brennan has it with 5. Now will shoot for 3. Rebound to Johns, and it's right even with shot clock and game clock for VCU, leading by 15, their largest of the first half in the midst of a 6-0 run. And see, in this situation, it's like, who do you guard? Who do you take away when you got shooters on the floor?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Crowd showing their approval of this first half. The no-look to Watkins for the triple.
What an amazing pass by Ace Baldwin. To look the defense off and find the open man in the corner. Watkins did the rest. 3 balls.
And as soon as Watkins let that go, Rose was halfway into the tunnel because he knew it was good. A 9-0 run to end the half, and VCU with an 18-point lead as we go to the break. We'll take a timeout, have our halftime activities here from the Siegel Center right after this. The second half here at the Siegel Center with VCU up by 18 over Manhattan. Sean Robertson along with Ed Nixon. Remember the 2011 Final Four team? We were kind of talking about that a little bit, about that Final Four run and just the excitement that you guys brought to the city of Richmond. Everybody was still, they were loving VCU, but it just went up another level. And I get the sense this year, maybe that excitement, I don't know if it's at that point, but it's getting close to that run in 2011.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that happened was, of course, COVID. COVID really made everything a little difficult. Yep. You know what I mean? But now people are getting more comfortable. People are vaccinated. People are ready to go. People want to be around each other. People want to support the Rams. And if you look around the stadium now, you can see that interest is jacked all the way up.
Well, we talked about the student sections here at the Stew. They are filled with the students back here on campus right before Thanksgiving, right around the corner. Get a few games in before you go home to see the family. And right now the Rams are putting on a show. The first look of this new look Ram offense. Remember, 7 newcomers from last year's team as Baldwin draws a foul. Manhattan thought it was going to be a travel, but they're going to get a foul on Watson of the Jaspers, team's first of this half.
Absolutely. They made an emphasis a few years ago about any trip has got to be called a foul, and that was obviously a trip.
You mentioned the imprint that Baldwin has put on this game. 8 points. He's only taken 3 shots in this game. 3 or 4 from the line, 8 points, 8 assists, 2 steals, at least 4 other deflections, and really suffocating defense on Ant Nelson when he is on the floor.
Absolutely. Ant Nelson is 0 for 5 from the floor. He has no rhythm as of right now.
Deloach gets the deflection, ball on the floor, and the Jaspers have it. And Nunn just took it away from Buchanan, and a tie-up goes back to VCU. Check it. Nope, Manhattan will get it on the arrow. We can call that another deflection.
Wow. Yeah.
Because VCU did get the possession to start the half, and I don't think they switched it till late. but Manhattan does get it on the alternating arrow.
Tell you what, no pass is safe with the VCU's on the court.
Nope. Starting five for both teams on the floor to begin the half.
And that's meant for Manhattan and any opposing team with VCU, you have to find that comfort zone between being cautious but not too cautious to where you're messing up the offense and the flow of the offense.
Buchanan over Johns gives him now 12 so far in the first half. He leads all Jaspers in scoring. In fact, leads all scorers now with the dozen.
Absolutely. If I'm Coach Storrs, I'm not taking Buchanan out of the game for the rest of the half. I need all 20 minutes.
Here's Watkins, Johns, Nunn from mid-range, which is his game, but that time went in and out. Here's Watkins going baseline, partially blocked by Robertson. He gave him a stare in the process. And it's stolen by Nunn. Up ahead to Watkins.
Hey, and that's really good to see him get up and be athletic after having a devastating injury like an ACL.
He's got the big brace on his right knee, but it did not hinder him on that hammer. 9 in the first half, or actually 9 in the game, rather, for Jamir Watkins.
And we have a turnover. We have a turnover.
Did he go over and back?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Now we've got a conference at midcourt. One of the officials talking to the official scorer about that. But back to the last play by Nunn, causing the steal. As I mentioned, top 15 in the A-10 a year ago in steals, and Jamir Watkins buckled up. And that's a great sight for VCU fans to see him bring the pain on that breakaway. Offensive foul on Jalen. That's at least 2 offensive fouls drawn by Josh Roberts in this game.
And I'm not exactly sure if I would have called that a charge. It looked more so of a flop. However, I'm always on the side of the defender.
Because that Nixon was a pretty good defender back in his day, wearing number 50 for the Rams. And that's a turnover by VCU, just their 6th in the game. And Baldwin going to play the full 94 feet against Watson. That was a backcourt because he stepped on the strike.
Yes, he did.
And they missed it. Buchanan against Johns.
Look at this.
Another steal by Nunn. Here's DeLoach down court. Nice pass. And Watkins with the finish.
Sharing is caring.
And another Virginia Union Credit Union assist of the game. 9 assists, 9 dimes for Ace Baldwin here in the game.
I tell you what, VCU's defense is showing out tonight.
Lead is at 20. Buchanan tried to cut into it and couldn't. 52-32 VCU ahead. Nunn thought about the 3 and then gave up the shot.
I bet Ace wanted him to pull that.
I thought so. Watkins won't. He'll shoot it. And drawing a foul by Nunn was Watson. That'll be his 2nd.
Now, Manhattan right now has to come together. They have to come together and stop the bleeding.
When you got those 5-year players, and there are a lot of them on this roster, it's 5. 4 were in the starting lineup as Nelson comes back in along with Cisse. This is when the experience for them has to, like you said, they got to come together here.
Has to kick in. And I know Coach Storrs would have preferred them come out and punch VCU in the mouth and go on a little, maybe 7-0 run to make it a little interesting.
Here's Baldwin against Roberts.
That is an incredible finish.
They say pound for pound, he's the strongest man on the roster. Speaking of Ace Baldwin. He was flexing there on that last layup. Here's Watson going up against DeLoach. DeLoach didn't want to pick up the foul, and Watson scores his 6th point.
At this point in the game, I don't think you can be worried about fouls. You got to play. You got to play.
20-point lead for VCU. 4.5 minutes gone here in this second half. Here's Baldwin maneuvering inside.
Look, like I said, Ace has times where he can just dominate the game, and this is one of those moments.
56-34 VCU lead. Ball was deflected, no backcourt. Nelson against none. Shot clock now at 10.
Nelson still has 0 points.
Underneath is Cisse. That ball hung on the rim for about a half second, and VCU grabbed it. Baldwin with 9 assists, and they're going to get Watson with a foul. Timeout on the floor. 15:55 to go, and it's all VCU as they lead by 22. Huddle, he has been the star of this game. 11 points, check it, 12 points so far, 9 assists and 2 steals. A big reason why VCU's up by 22.
Absolutely. And his defense has outshined everything to me. He's contested everything. He's made life a living turmoil for Ant Nelson and any other Manhattan player, all the guards.
I know what you wanted to say. I'm glad you didn't say it. But we get your point. And the other guys, also Jamir Watkins. Remember, this is his first game really since the A-10 tournament of 2020, I beg your pardon. And he's got 11 points so far.
Yeah. And one thing I can say about Jamir is when he was hurt, he was still putting in a ton of work.
Yeah.
Improving his jump shot.
He was third in scoring his freshman season for VCU. And we got a travel called on Shriver.
Manhattan did a good job of running Shriver off the 3-ball. When somebody has a specialist, you want him to do everything else but what he does. Good job by Manhattan.
Collegiately scored over 1,200 points at Hartford and at Alderson Broadus, a Division II school in West Virginia. And I mentioned over 40% from behind the arc career for Shriver. He's got 2 from distance here in this game. Shot clock under 10 for Manhattan. Buchanan against Watkins. Step back 3 and draws a foul on Watkins.
That was great defense, but you have to be mindful of where the offensive player is going to land.
Played great defense for 29 seconds just about.
Absolutely.
And Mike Rose talking to one of the officials tonight, Tony Crisp, Jason Page, and Matt Oblis, the officials tonight. We're saying it looked like Buchanan kicked his foot out a la Reggie Miller to try to draw that foul, which he did, and got 3 free throws coming to him.
And that was a fadeaway 3 at the end of the shot clock. I'm not sure. I'm not an official, so I don't know if it was a foul or not. However, it was a good defense up until that point.
Now, if you were wearing a striped shirt, would you have called that?
I'm not calling that. I'm not calling it. That's tough. That's good defense.
Last year, Buchanan shot 65% from the line, but the coaching staff told us today his best year was his junior year when he was in the top 20 in major categories in the MAC conference. And now they get another possession as Ant Nelson stole it away from VCU, and a deflection by Baldwin results in a steal.
Tell you, man, you can't make lazy passes against this defense.
15 turnovers by Manhattan in the game, and now a foul called on the Jaspers, and that looks like Roberts, his second. Looking at the numbers, they all favor at VCU. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, steals, forcing 16 turnovers, more assists.
Absolutely. This second half, VCU really started to dominate.
Baldwin with the fadeaway over Roberts, and nothing but Jaspers underneath for the rebound. Buchanan has it for Manhattan.
But yeah, since the second half started, VCU has dominated every aspect of the game.
When will Nelson get on track? Find Roberts down low and scores. Roberts with 8, and the lead's now at 18. 56-38.
And when your offensive game isn't going or you can't make shots, you have to find something else you can do to contribute. And that was a good job by Ant Nelson.
Here's Shriver left open. Halfway down, and Roberts the rebound for Manhattan. He's got good looks so far. A couple of those just went in and out.
Eventually he'll get the shooter's roll. Again.
And Baldwin forced that turnover. That's at least 5 deflections by Baldwin. And the coaching staff at VCU, they do keep track.
I was just going to say that.
They keep that as a stat. And that's at least 5 by Ace here in the game. It's not on our sheet. It's not on our screen. But that is, for VCU coaches, that is an official stat for them. The more deflections, the better. As Nick Kern is in for the first time this half. And DeLoach has it against Roberts. Turnaround comes up a little bit short. Roberts another rebound for Manhattan, who trails 56-38. Down court is Roberts and scores his 10th point.
Good find. And Manhattan started to find some rhythm on the offensive end.
Second Jasper in double figures. Buchanan leads the way with 14. Here's Baldwin, had it stripped by Nelson. He might get caught with the foul. And it is.
Ace Baldwin does a good job of just probing the defense, finding where their weakness is and exploiting that.
As we mentioned, first team preseason selection. He's on the all defensive team to start the year. Last year he made second team after missing the first 8 games of the year as he recovered from a torn Achilles. He thought he was going to come back. I was reading an article in the paper. He thought he was going to come back January or February, or mid to late January, I beg your pardon, not February.
Absolutely.
And he came back game number 9 of the year, which was right around early December, well ahead of schedule.
Wolverine jeans.
Made 1 of 2 free throws. First freshman to start a season opener since Brad Burgess did it.
Yep. And Brad went on to start every single game of his career.
Yeah. And Jay Nunn did that last year as well. Became the 3rd player to start as a freshman opening night. Under 10 to shoot now for the Jaspers, who trail by 17, and Buchanan draws a foul out on the perimeter. Nick Kern is called for the foul, his second. Rams have 3 team fouls. Manhattan now with 5. They got 1 more foul to give before VCU shoots the rest of this half. Nelson has it 0 of 5 so far from the field. Is the team's leading returning scorer after a couple of guys made the decision to go to the transfer portal. Baldwin got the steal. Jackson up ahead, scoops it up and draws contact as Nelson tried to draw the foul at midcourt, and the officials didn't give it to him. Brennan picked it up, and now he has 3.
Again, active hands on the defensive end, leading to live ball turnovers.
Buchanan looked like he got hit underneath on that last trip, but he gives the thumbs up to Coach Doors, and he's going to be okay. I think he's got to come out after that stoppage. And Zeb Jackson will shoot 2 free throws for VCU. As we mentioned, one of 2 players this offseason from the University of Michigan.
What a luxury for VCU to have Zeb Jackson coming off of their bench.
6'5" freshman from out of Toledo. He was a member of that Elite 8 team of 2021 that played in the Indianapolis bubble. As Watson is now in for Manhattan to replace Buchanan. He played his high school senior season at Monteverde Academy. That's one of the top programs in the country.
Absolutely.
They finished number 1 that season, a perfect 25-0 with Jackson on the roster.
Absolutely. And when you go to Mount Vernon and schools like that, you're playing with the best of the best day in and day out. So skills-wise and talent-wise, Zeb Jackson is one of the best on this team.
Hyung lost it. Here comes Jackson for VCU. You got Shriver left open. That was a little short. The wall climbing the ladder to keep possession for VCU and drawing a foul, and it might go against Walden. It is on Adam Walden, the freshman from Baltimore. But that vertical leap by Lawal, he has the highest vertical leap on the team at 45 inches.
And at 6'8", that is ridiculous.
But you were talking about he has not played a lot of organized basketball.
His ceiling is through the roof.
Yeah.
If he continues to work as hard as he is now and just continue to work on his craft, the sky's the limit for this young man.
Now we got a delay here as they tried to get the foul correct. They called it on first on Adam Walden. They switched it looks like, and they're going to give it to Watson.
Ooh.
And now he has 4 and becomes the first player for either team in the danger zone as Buchanan checks in for Watson. And Mike Rhodes on the sideline for VCU just keeps coaching.
Absolutely. 40 minutes.
Lawal missed the front end of a 1-and-1. Shriver kept it alive, and now Manhattan has it.
And if I could say one thing is hurting VCU, it would be the free throw line.
Yeah.
Shooting 42% from the free throw line, and somehow they are up 18 points.
We'll talk more about that as there's a timeout on the floor. The Rams in command, up by 18.
Thank you.
On one of their undefeated teams, and they were celebrating that. Yeah. Don't want VCU what now?
Manhattan highlights.
VCU highlights. Lead 58-40. Sean Robertson along with Ed Nixon, a member of the 2011 Final Four team. He told me before the game I have to mention that during every introduction of him being on our broadcast. The fans here at the Siegel Center liking what they see so far from this, as I mentioned, new look VCU roster. 7 new faces and names on this year's team, but the standard by head coach Mike Rhodes does not change.
It has not. Hunting for 40 minutes. Live up to your own standard. Not against who you're playing, your own standard.
Ace Baldwin back in the lineup along with Lawal, Shriver, Jackson, and Kern. Here's Ant Nelson, who draws a foul on Shriver, and it looks like Nelson will go to the free throw line to get his first points of the night.
Absolutely.
So Nelson, as we mentioned, the leading returning scorer after multiple players decided to leave the program after the previous head coach was let go. Nelson averaged just under 11 points a game last season, scores his first. It's now Christian Furman, a freshman from out of Potomac Mountain West High School in Pennsylvania, is now in for Lawal.
And I like this kid. Another recruit for VCU that has a high upside.
Nelson has both free throws. He shot 68% from the line last year. First 2 points for Ant Nelson in the game, and it comes with 11:45 and counting here in the second half. Here's Jackson. Here's Baldwin, blocked by Roberts into Buchanan's hands.
Roberts is one athletic fellow.
Yes, he is.
And you have to bring it. You have to attack the goal with some oomph. Otherwise, he's going to take it off the glass.
Transfer from St. John's, who led the MAC in field goal percentage a season ago. And Furman gets the steal for VCU.
Just not a smart pass.
Turnover number 20 for Manhattan this game. They look to Furman inside. Buchanan got hit on the back of the head. Here's Jackson inside against Roberts, and a whistle.
Good job by Furman to be able to catch that ball and make a pass out of some trouble.
That was a tough pass, and Buchanan got whacked across the back of the head. Looks like he's okay.
He's been taking a beating all night.
Yeah. He's like, ref, what's wrong? What's up? But at the line is Zeb Jackson. 2 more free throws for him. Didn't play a lot in that Elite 8 team of 2021. But he is expected to be a big contributor for Coach Rhodes on this squad as Brandon Johns comes back in to replace Shriver.
And Zeb Jackson is really one of the nicest kids you'll ever meet. First time walking into the gym, Walt doesn't introduce himself. All about the team, all about winning.
60-42, VCU up by 18. With another new 5 on the floor with Johns and Jackson and Kern and Baldwin and Furman.
So many variations of lineups.
Deepest team that Coach Rhodes has had since he's been here. Now went into his 6th season. Shot clock under 10. Nelson for 3. Still without a field goal is Ant Nelson. VCU looking to score. Kern is called for steps.
Yep.
Only the 10th Ram turnover here in the game.
And Nelson, he's been trying to score, but he doesn't have a rhythm. VCU has taken the rhythm away from him. And some players, that's how they score. They're rhythm scorers.
Now, we talked about this when you see a lot of different defenders going at him. Will those legs become heavy?
Absolutely.
I wonder if that's the case now for Nelson, as Buchanan tried to maneuver underneath and out of bounds to VCU. Will that play a factor in him still being cold? The fact that, maybe he's just flat out tired right now.
Absolutely. He catches every time he caught the ball, Ace was under him, hitting the ball out of bounds, or just turning around. You got 2 defenders looking at you. You drive, you're getting bumped. They're being physical on the defensive end. It's wearing. It's taxing.
Hands on his hips right now as he's waiting for Baldwin. And usually that's the first sign to say I'm a little tired right now. Under 10 minutes to go in the game. The up and under by Baldwin is partially blocked. Yep. Good help side defense by Manhattan on that trip. Brennan to Roberts, who finishes strong.
Now, the mistake there by Furman is you never want to let anybody get behind you when you're the anchor to the press.
Roberts now with a dozen in this game, and the lead is at 16. Here's Johns going to Furman. Jackson thought about it and has Watkins open for 3. Roberts yanks down a rebound for Manhattan, now 8 in the game.
Roberts just came to play.
Yep. Nelson trying to catch a little breather right here, calling this offense against Baldwin. Shot clock is at 10 for Manhattan.
And they're just now starting the offense. This is what the pressure of VCU does.
Nelson over Baldwin. And drails the 3.
Gets on the board.
First field goal of the night. Pulls Manhattan to within 13.
Yeah, don't look now.
VCU hasn't made a field goal in over 7.5 minutes. Yet up by 13. Watkins draws another foul.
And they're forcing the issue for the refs to make a call. Which you gotta like the aggressiveness. But I want to see the ball hopping again. Get the easy shots. Make their defense work a little bit.
And that also is a credit to Manhattan taking them out of the rhythm.
Absolutely. They had plenty of opportunities to pack it on up, but they have not. Kudos to them.
And that's what Coach Storrs told us today during shoot-around. I want to see them have fun. This is their outlet after what has all transpired this offseason. This is a chance for them to have fun. I want them to compete. I want them to play hard, but I want them to have fun.
And can we talk about how messed up that situation is? To lose your coach 2 weeks before the season. And all credit to Coach Storrs. He's doing a great job. However, it's demoralizing. It can be demoralizing for a team. You're losing two key factors.
Your leading scorer, your all-world player from last season was an all-MAC performer, and Lopez, who immediately went to the transfer portal and he signed with West Virginia. And Storrs told us that the biggest thing he thought was to turn the page. And a whistle stops play.
And he's absolutely right. You can't dwell on things of the past. You're here now.
Yep.
You got to live in the present. This is what we have. We're going to go out here and compete for 40 minutes.
And right now they're doing that because, as you mentioned, they could have folded the tent when they were down 21.
Absolutely.
They got it to within 13 in this half. They're down 15 right now as we're at the 8-minute mark in the game. A 3 gets them to within 12. Here's Nelson against Nunn. Loose ball, and DeLoach has it for VCU. Looked a little rushed on that one by Nelson. Here's Jackson for 3. And Hyung the rebound for Manhattan.
That was an okay shot.
Brennan against Nunn, and he draws a foul. Timeout on the floor with 7:29 to go. Brennan will shoot free throws for Manhattan when we come back. Jaspers down 15. Past the halfway point of this second half at the Siegel Center. Season opener for both teams as college basketball is underway across the country, and high expectations at Nixon for this Rams program. Picked to finish third in the A-10 behind Dayton and St. Louis. And right now, leading by 15 against Manhattan. But it's a little different. That 15-point lead feels a little different right now.
Absolutely. And this is where VCU can show the rest of the A-10 and all other teams in the country that they're legit by closing the game out strong. Last year, they would have leads like this, and it would dwindle away towards the end. It would be a close game at the end, and you never know what was going on. This is the time where they put their foot on the gas and extend the lead and close it out.
So Brennan will shoot free throws for Manhattan. He has got 5 points so far. Looking for number 6. And a credit to Coach Storrs, as we talked about it throughout this game. Thrust into the fire a couple of weeks prior to the start of the season. Interim basis. An opportunity for him to kind of be the guy at his alma mater.
Absolutely.
Maybe become the full-time head coach to kind of, guide this ship that has some tough waters so far. Nice pass to DeLoach underneath, and they're going to get Brennan, I think, with the block, and he may have fouled out.
Well, great pass by Jamir. Great screen and roll by DeLoach. And you got to give Brennan some credit for sticking his face in there trying to get the charge. That would have been a big swing for Manhattan at that time.
Because that could have been DeLoach's third if that would have been a charge. But it's Brennan's 5th. He's gone. And DeLoach will get free throws as Cisse re-enters the lineup for Manhattan. But VCU in a drought. They have not made a field goal in their last 9 minutes and 18 seconds. They're 0 of their last 8 from the field.
That's a stat for you.
Led by as much as 21 in the half. It's at 13 now after DeLoach missed the first.
And again, the struggles at the free throw line are probably the biggest reason why Manhattan still is in striking distance.
12 of 23 from the line tonight. Hits 1 of 2. He scored a team-high 15 in the exhibition win against Shippensburg, speaking of DeLoach. Had 18 in the black and gold scrimmage, which would have been a career high if it was in the regular season.
Right. And like I said, DeLoach has put a lot of work in.
Nice pass by Ant Nelson to Roberts for the finish. They mentioned his field goal percentage was high because of plays like that. Dunks off the feed from Nelson. Roberts now with 14, and the lead is at 12. Deloach had it blocked by Roberts. And another block, but now a foul.
And Deloach has a knack for the ball. He always finds his way to get offensive rebounds, or even when he gets his shot blocked or he misses a shot, his second chances are always a high chance he'll get a second chance to get it.
He's got 7 rebounds in the game. That leads VCU. He averaged just under 4 a game last season as he played just under 14 minutes a year ago. That's 2 straight made by Deloach from the line. Jackson and Ace Baldwin back in for VCU.
Now let's see if we can get 2 in a row. This might be the first of the night.
Jacob Jackson checked out for VCU, and that's 2 straight for him, or actually 3 in a row, as he made both on that trip. Cisse and Brandon John saying a few words after they were tangled up.
Everybody's a little chatty. Ace and Nelson are kind of going at each other too.
14-point lead for VCU inside 6.5 minutes. Offensive foul. And that's going to be on Buchanan. And that's his 4th. Oh, check it. It's going to be on Ant Nelson. And now we got a tech called.
Did they call it a double tech?
I think Tony Crisp, the head official, he put up 4 fingers, and I think that's Deloach that's going to get called for the tech.
Wow.
And now the officials are telling both teams to go to the bench. But Tony Crisp went to the scores table and showed the number 4.
Is that 5 on Nelson?
And they do have 5 on the scoreboard for Nelson. At first we thought it was a double technical foul, but he only went 1. Let's watch it again. Deloach was talking to Nelson after the offensive foul was called, and Tony Crisp was looking the whole way. Well, he does do the double point, which normally shows a double tech.
And this was ruined from the previous play.
They did call a tech on Ant Nelson. They called a double tech, so Ant got called for the foul, and Deloach got called for a tech, and that is Ant's 5th foul. He is the 2nd player for the Jaspers that got disqualified in the game. So he's gone. Deloach picked up his 3rd. He is still on the floor, but Ant Nelson gone after picking up his 5th foul.
And let's see how this affects the Jaspers.
Here is Johns going up against Cisse and over Roberts for 2.
Great move. To come to the jump stop, show the ball, step through for the reverse layup to avoid the shot blocker. Excellent move. 13
for Johns. 3 players with at least 13 points for VCU as that pass was deflected. And last touch by Manhattan. And VCU will get it back. I believe that is the 22nd turnover from Manhattan in the game.
It's gonna be very hard to win with those many turnovers.
16-point VCU lead inside 6 minutes here in the second half. Nice backdoor cut to Watkins. Couldn't get the finish. And Cisse has it for Manhattan. Now they look to run. Johns deflected it, and Deloach has it. And Watkins had to go off his knee. That's great hustle by both teams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great pass. We cannot ignore the pass by Deloach right there.
Oh, yeah.
Great find. And I think that is one of the most underrated skill that he has. He's a great passer from the top of the key and from the post.
And it looks like that's Josh Roberts down on the floor for Manhattan. It looks like he's got a cramp, and the trainer is going to work the kinks out of there. You can ill afford to lose him. He's played great for Manhattan tonight. 14 points and 8 rebounds.
Absolutely.
If you lose him, you already lost Nelson, with 5. fouls. Brennan also fouled out for Manhattan with 5. As we look at that last play, started by Johns on the deflection.
And congrats to him being the first to the floor. You won't see that on the stat sheet. But however, that means a lot for the team. Willing to give up your body for your team.
14 steals for VCU tonight.
Incredible.
That was always a staple. When you looked at the stat sheet, you always wondered whether or not they had at least 10, maybe 10 to 12. That was always big.
Absolutely.
For the Rams defensively. You can get 10 to 12 steals a game, you were doing something. They've got 14 so far in game number 1. Buchanan on the floor with Cisse for Manhattan, along with Hyung, Watson, and also Walden, as now a whistle stops play. And Jamir Watkins is called for the foul. A 1-and-1 now for Manhattan.
And I think VCU did a pretty good job of trying to stay in front of the ball. Manhattan, especially Buchanan, he did a really good job of probing the defense and really trying to get to the cup to get his own buckets off.
14 points on the night for Buchanan, along with 6 rebounds, 4 assists, but also 6 turnovers as he scores his 15th. He averaged 7.5 last season. Scored in double figures 9 times, to include 20 or more twice.
Well, this is going to be a thing for the majority of the Manhattan players. A lot of guys with a debacle early in the season, a lot of guys are going to be thrusted into new positions and new roles, and Buchanan is one of the guys who are going to have to do more if they want to be successful this season.
We're inside money time here in the second half, as that pass was kicked and a reset of the shot clock with 4:49 left in regulation. VCU in front by 14. They've led throughout this game. They hadn't led early at 1.5 to 2, but since then it has been all VCU here in the game. Here is Nunn. Nice move over Walton, and Deloach with the finish. Nine points and 8 rebounds for Deloach here in the game.
And that's where he can leave his mark every single game.
Watson for 3. And Watkins the rebound for VCU. And now a called play by head coach Mike Rhodes. We've seen the transition. Now we're going to see them running some set offense on this trip. Nice no look to Watkins, and he stepped out of bounds.
Watkins is really looking forward to drive right and attack and put pressure on the rim. You just got to be mindful of where you are on the court.
Now, we did see that a lot in his freshman year. He's a driver. He's a mid-range shooter. Can step outside and shoot the 3, but he likes to attack the rim when given the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Averaged 7 points a game his freshman season here at VCU. Inside 4 minutes for Buchanan to work with. And Deloach comes up with a steal. 15 on the night for VCU.
Again, you can ill afford to make those type of passes against this defense.
Baldwin has Nunn open for 3. Cisse the rebound for Manhattan. Buchanan trying to make something happen offensively. Hyung. And now out to Watson.
Way to recover in transition defense. If you remember first half, VCU struggled with that. That must have been a point of emphasis going into the half.
10 to shoot for Manhattan. Watson on the move. Cisse has it against Johns with 2. Watkins the rebound. Another great defensive trip by VCU. Inside 3 minutes, and Coach Mike Rhodes gets a 30-second timeout. And a timeout here on the floor. Final one with 2:54 to go. All VCU up by 16. Ball back here in the Commonwealth. 2:54 left. VCU on their way to getting their season opening win as they're up by 16. Ed Nixon was going to put on his number 50 jersey. He was so excited he wanted to get a couple of shots up.
I honestly don't think I can get out there and play like them. I don't have the stamina.
He thought he was back in Dayton and San Antonio and Chicago and Houston.
Coach can run one play for me, I'll catch and shoot, and then sub. Come get me.
Tap, tap, tap.
I'm pulling the jersey.
2:54 in the game. Nick Kern back in the lineup for VCU on the floor with Johns and Baldwin, who draws a foul on Matthew Glassman for Manhattan. And now that would be 2 free throws for Baldwin. And we've got a timeout on the floor. The last media timeout of the half. We'll take a break. Be back at the Siegel Center after this. Picking up their first victory of the season, 69-53 over Manhattan. Don't forget, Rams back in action Saturday night right back here at the Stew. They'll play Morgan State from the MEAC at 7 o'clock before they go up to New York for a couple of games.
For the Legends Classic.
The Legends Classic. They'll get Michigan, Pittsburgh, and Arizona State.
Yep, they have Arizona State first. Arizona State returning some good guys. They're going to be ready to play.
Yeah. Michigan as well. Pittsburgh with Jeff Capel.
Fingers crossed that we play Michigan. That would be a dream come true.
Could be. I don't know. We could see Pittsburgh. Remember, Jeff Capel's spent some time here.
Yeah, Jeff Capel.
At VCU before Anthony Grant. He went to a couple of NCAA tournaments.
Absolutely.
When he was here. That could be an interesting storyline. Remember that first trip when he was at Oklahoma, he came back here.
Yeah.
They were nationally ranked and thumped them, to say the least. And he said that after the game, we got thumped. Baldwin with 2 made free throws now is up to an 18-point lead as Glassman trying to create for the Jaspers as we're inside 3 minutes. No travel called there. Glassman now has it with 10 to shoot. Watson against none. Glassman against Baldwin, and Glassman with his first collegiate made field goal.
Amazing.
And he's got a fan club over there behind the bench as he made his first ever field goal at the collegiate level. Johns gets it back on the deflection. Almost a turnover. Here's Kern. Nice move to the basket. DeLoach follow is no good, but a foul. And DeLoach got those elbows out wide. And Tony Chris said, we don't need that with a minute 58 to go.
Everybody's trying to go home.
Yeah, let's come on, let's clean that up. But yeah, after Glassman made that free throw, it was about 20 people to the corner, like right there as they go to the tunnel to our left here at the Siegel Center, all jumping up in approval for Matthew Glassman.
He must be the man. He must be the man.
He's a grad player, 3-time MAC all-academic selection.
Oh.
So he's got the grades.
He's going to own a business.
He's going. Baldwin now comes out of the game as now Jackson is back in. Yeah, he had never made a field goal in a college game until tonight.
Wow.
Deloach, the second, as now he will leave and Furman will come in.
And ironically, on the best defender on the court.
Yeah.
How about that?
He can have that. He can have that frame. He can put that shot at home. So I did that. My first game of the season, I made my first ever field goal.
It seemed lucky, so I guess God works in mysterious ways.
Good for Glassman. Inside 2 minutes to go. The lead's at 17 for VCU. They've led throughout this game since very early in the first half after trailing by 3. Billups now in for VCU. 5 to shoot for the Jaspers. And a whistle.
That's a tough call.
Jaden uncalled for the foul.
And Watson has a lot of offhand action going on when he drives. But I guess it's not a foul. The refs don't call it.
Last year he finished 3rd in the MAC in field goal percentage. And missed the first free throw. 84% shooter last season from the stripe was Watson.
I remember something wrong with this goal.
Might be because there was VCU missed a lot from that end in the first half. As Watson made the second. They're 9 of 12 from the line. VCU 18 of 31 from the stripe. You got to like the amount of attempts VCU has, but just 18 made free throws here in the game. Here's Billups. Threw it away.
And good initial drive, but you don't want to get in a position. You don't want to get in a position where you don't have any escape route. And another turnover for Manhattan.
I believe that's their 26th of the game. Ari Aurora in now for Manhattan to replace Buchanan, who played well tonight. 16 points for Elijah Buchanan. I would keep a close eye on what Manhattan does the rest of this season. As Josh Banks enters the lineup, almost got that 3 to drop, and Arroyo the rebound. As we're inside a minute.
And how about this? Josh Banks, the junior, just got in the game with basically a minute left to go.
Yeah.
And he can still play quality minutes and give you production. This team is extremely deep.
We kind of laughed during shoot-around when Rose was calling the defensive plays and bringing different units in. And it was like, third team. It was like, we looked at each other, was like, third team. Now remember, Ed played here at VCU. He knows Rose very well, as he was as an assistant on that Final Four team when Shaka was here.
And we usually only second team, we get off the court.
Yeah.
First team runs, second team, then get off the court. This year, there's 3 apparently.
3 teams? I mean, but Coach Rose had told just about anybody that asked, it is my deepest team since I've been back at VCU. And the biggest thing I think for him and his staff will be how to juggle the minutes.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the thing, and to keep those guys, you know, in the game as Furman tried to bring it down and high in the foul.
Now the thing that's going to work in Coach Rose's favor for that in this situation is we play so fast, we press so much, people are going to be asking for a break.
Yeah.
You know, and with the team being as deep and the style of play, it just kind of meshes for to have a lot of subs.
Furman with his first point. That's going to be the thing. The style, seemed like the style will mesh with the lineup he has and the roster that he has, that he could play 10, 11, maybe 12 guys any given night, and the productivity doesn't drop significantly.
Absolutely. And once you get to the middle of the season, some of these freshmen.
Yeah, they won't be freshmen then.
They won't be freshmen. And they're going to have that experience. And they're going to know their role.
Like Billups and like Furman. Steal by Banks. Here's Billups. They're going to call an offensive foul, and Mike Rose is hot. That whistle came in a tad late. And Mike Rose is calling about that.
Coach is going to coach. 6 seconds left on the clock, and he's getting on the ref. I love it.
And Manhattan is just going to dribble it out as VCU picks up their first win of the season. 73-56 over Manhattan. We're coming back to wrap it up right after this.